What happens when two powerhouse personalities collide on live television in a way nobody saw coming? The Kelly Clarkson Show has always been known for its warmth and positivity, but today's episode took a turn that left the audience absolutely stunned. The Mexican superstar, known for her telenovela empire and music career, sat down with Kelly for what was supposed to be a lighthearted conversation about her latest projects. Instead, it became one of the most uncomfortable moments in daytime television history. Before we get into what went down, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you think about celebrity clashes on live TV. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one, because what started as a simple disagreement turned into something nobody could have predicted. The show opened like any other episode. Kelly walked out to thunderous applause, flashing that signature smile that has made her one of America's most beloved talk show hosts. The energy in the studio was electric, the audience ready for another feel-good hour of entertainment. Thalia was introduced with all the fanfare befitting a legend of her stature. Decades in the business, millions of records sold, a true icon in Latin entertainment. She walked onto the stage in a stunning designer outfit, waving to the crowd with the confidence of someone who has done this 1,000 times before. Kelly greeted her warmly, and they exchanged pleasantries as Thalia settled into the guest chair. The first few minutes went smoothly enough. They talked about Thalia's upcoming tour, her beauty line, her family. Kelly complimented her on staying relevant after so many years in the industry, a comment that seemed innocent enough but would later take on new meaning. Thalia smiled graciously, thanking Kelly for having her on the show. Then Kelly brought up a recent interview where Thalia had made some comments about American pop music lacking the passion and soul of Latin music. It was meant to be a jumping-off point for a discussion about cultural differences in music, nothing controversial, but the way Kelly phrased the question carried just a hint of challenge in it. So, Thalia, I saw that interview where you said American pop has lost its way. That's a pretty bold statement coming onto an American pop singer's show, don't you think? Kelly said it with a smile, but there was something in her tone. Thalia's expression shifted slightly. She sat up a little straighter. Well, Kelly, I think if you actually listened to what I said instead of taking it out of context, you would understand I was speaking about the industry as a whole, not attacking anyone personally. The audience sensed the temperature change. A few uncomfortable laughs rippled through the crowd. Kelly's smile remained, but her eyes hardened just a fraction. I'm not taking anything out of context, Thalia. I'm literally quoting what you said. You said, and I'm quoting here, American pop music has become soulless and manufactured. Those were your exact words. Yes, and I stand by that, Thalia replied, her accent becoming more pronounced as her voice gained an edge. The music industry in this country has become about algorithms and streaming numbers instead of artistry. In Latin music, we still value emotion, real instruments, real voices, not everything processed through auto-tune and written by committees. Kelly leaned back in her chair, crossing her legs. The audience was dead silent now, sensing this was no longer playful banter. That's interesting coming from someone who literally started their career in a manufactured pop group. Timberish was as manufactured as they come. You were literally put together by producers. Thalia's eyes flashed. Excuse me, how dare you reduce my entire career to one chapter from when I was a teenager? I have spent decades building my legacy, recording in multiple languages, acting, creating businesses. What have you done besides win a television show and sing other people's songs? The gasp from the audience was audible. Kelly's face flushed red. This had crossed a line and everyone knew it. The producers in the control room were frantically signaling to go to commercial, but Kelly waved them off. She was not backing down. Other people's songs? Kelly's voice was steady, but you could hear the anger simmering beneath. I've written and co-written on every single one of my albums. My last album was entirely self-written, but please continue to tell me about authenticity while you're selling makeup and jewelers with your name slapped on it. That's real artistry right there. At least I'm not trying to be Oprah, Thalia shot back. This whole show is just you trying to copy someone else's format, someone else's success. You couldn't make it work as just a singer, so now you're trying to be a talk show host. How's that working out for you? Still chasing Ellen's ratings? Kelly stood up. The audience didn't know whether to applaud or stay silent. You know what, Thalia? I invited you here as a guest to promote your projects to have a nice conversation, but clearly you came here with an agenda. An agenda? Thalia stood as well, her voice rising. You're the one who brought up that interview. You're the one who started making passive-aggressive comments. I came here to talk about my tours, and you turned this into an attack. I asked you a simple question about your own words, and you couldn't handle it. Kelly fired back. You want to dish it out about American music, but the second someone pushes back, you play victim. That's not how this works. I'm not playing victim, I'm calling out your disrespect, Thalia said, pointing her finger. You don't get to invite someone onto your show and then ambush them. Kelly laughed incredulously. Asking you about your own public statements is an ambush? Maybe you should think before you speak to the press if you can't handle questions about it.
The tension was unbearable. The audience sat frozen, cameras capturing every second of this unscripted disaster unfolding live. Thalia's face was flushed with anger, her carefully applied makeup beginning to show the strain of the confrontation. She took a step closer to Kelly's desk, her voice cutting through the stunned silence of the studio. You want to talk about thinking before speaking. Let's talk about how you've been coasting on that American Idol win for 2 decades. One show, Kelly, that's what gave you everything, and you act like you built this empire from nothing. Kelly's jaw clenched visibly. Her hands gripped the edge of her desk so tightly her knuckles turned white. Coasting? I've released 9 studio albums, won 3 Grammys, and built this show from the ground up. What I haven't done is rely on my husband's family connections to stay relevant. Oh wait, that's your playbook, isn't it? The mention of Thalia's marriage to music executive Tommy Moria was a nuclear button, and Kelly had just pressed it. The audience collectively held their breath. Thalia's eyes narrowed to slits, her whole body tensing. You leave my family out of this. You have no idea what you're talking about. Don't I? Kelly shot back, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Tommy Moria just happens to be one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and suddenly your career gets a massive boost in the American market. Must be nice to have those kinds of connections. Some of us actually had to earn our success. Earn your success? Thalia's laugh was harsh and bitter. You were handed a recording contract on national television in front of millions of people. You had the biggest platform imaginable, all the producers and songwriters that a major label could provide, and you dare to lecture me about earning anything? I was performing before sold-out stadiums in Mexico while you were still in high school dreaming about making it big. Kelly came around from behind her desk, closing the distance between them. The camera zoomed in, capturing every micro-expression, every tremor in their voices. And yet here you are on my show, needing my platform to promote your tours? Funny how that works, isn't it? If you're such a megastar, why do you need Kelly Clarkson? I don't need you, Thalia hissed. My publicist thought it would be good exposure for the American market, but clearly this was a mistake. You're not a real interviewer. You're just another insecure singer playing dress-up as a host. Insecure? Kelly's voice rose to a level the audience had never heard from her before. I'm insecure? You're the one who can't handle a single question without falling apart. You're the one who came on this show with a chip on your shoulder the size of Texas. I tried to have a civil conversation and you turned it into a competition. You started this by twisting my words, Thalia insisted, her accent thickening with emotion. You came at me from the very first question. Don't pretend like you were being friendly. Everyone in this room could feel the hostility coming off you. Kelly threw her hands up in exasperation. Oh, so now I'm hostile for doing my job, for asking questions? That's what journalists do, Thalia. That's what interviewers do. We ask questions about things our guests have said publicly. If you can't handle that level of scrutiny, maybe you should stick to doing puff pieces with people who will just kiss your ass for 30 minutes. At least I don't need to tear other people down to feel good about myself, Thalia countered. You know what your problem is, Kelly? You're bitter. You're bitter that you never became the biggest pop star in the world like you thought you would. You're bitter that you had to pivot to hosting a talk show because the music wasn't enough anymore. And you're taking that bitterness out on me. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Kelly's face went through several emotions in rapid succession. Shock, hurt, fury. When she finally spoke, her voice was dangerously quiet. You don't know anything about me or my choices. I chose to do this show because I love connecting with people. I love using my platform to lift others up, to give them a space to share their stories, something you clearly wouldn't understand, because everything with you is about ego and validation. Lift others up, Thalia scoffed. Is that what you call this? Because from where I'm standing, you invited me here to humiliate me on television. You wanted to take down Thalia to show everyone that Kelly Clarkson isn't afraid of anybody. Well, congratulations. You succeeded. You've shown everyone exactly who you really are. And who is that? Kelly demanded, stepping even closer until they were nearly face to face. Go ahead, Thalia. Tell me who I really am, since you seem to have me all figured out. You're a bully, Thalia said coldly. You hide behind this nice girl, relatable, down-to-earth persona, but underneath, you're just another mean girl who can't stand to see other women succeed. You bring us on your show and smile in our faces, and then you go for the throat the second you feel threatened. Kelly's laugh was sharp and humorless. Threatened by you? Please. I'm not threatened by someone whose biggest claim to fame is marrying well and starring in soap operas. Your music career in this country is barely a footnote. Nobody under 30 even knows who you are. That struck deep. Thalia's eyes glistened with angry tears that she refused to let fall. How dare you? How dare you diminish everything I've accomplished? I've sold over 25 million records worldwide. I've won multiple Latin Grammys. I've built an empire that spans continents. Just because American audiences are too ignorant and closed-minded to appreciate Latin artists doesn't mean we don't matter. Nobody said you don't matter, Kelly replied, though her tone was still sharp. But you can't come into this country, into my studio, and trash American music and then expect everyone to bow down to you. You want respect? Try showing some first. I've shown nothing but respect since I walked through that door, Thalia protested. You're the one who came out swinging. You had your little gotcha question ready, your little trap set, and I walked right into it. Well played, Kelly. You got your viral moment. Is this what your show has become? Ambushing guests for ratings? Kelly's eyes flashed. For the last time, asking you about your own interview is not an ambush. You said what you said, you meant what you meant, and now you're mad that someone called you on it. That's not my problem, that's yours. You twisted everything, Thalia shot back. Context matters, nuance matters, but you don't care about that. You just wanted your headline, your controversy, your moment where tough Kelly Clarkson puts the arrogant Latina in her place. The racial undertone of that comment made Kelly pause. Her expression shifted slightly, a flicker of something, uncertainty perhaps, or recognition, but she pushed forward. Don't you dare make this about race. This is about you being unable to handle criticism. This is about you coming on my show with an attitude. I came with an attitude? Thalia's voice cracked with incredulity. Listen to yourself. You've insulted my career, my marriage, my relevance, my entire legacy, and I'm the one with the attitude? Kelly opened her mouth to respond, but Thalia wasn't finished. The floodgates had opened, and years of frustration seemed to pour out